Welcome to the Four Visions Market Podcast, a space built on the principles of integrity and reciprocity. Together, we will engage in thought-provoking conversations about plant medicines, why these plants are coming out of the rainforests, jungles, and mountains after thousands of years, and what it means to be in right relationship with the ancestral wisdom cultures and guardians of these traditions. I'm your host, Mariah Ganessa, founder and director of Four Visions Market. This podcast is the natural evolution in our commitment to providing you, our tribe, with incredible resources to support you on your healing journey through plant medicines. Welcome home. Welcome back, Four Visions Tribe. I am ecstatic to bring you another epic episode this week with a true gem of a man and inspiring thought leader. Adam Jackson holds a vision for ushering brotherhood to the forefront of our community as a means for conscious healing. He is a co-founder and the voice of Sacred Sons, a pioneering organization doing incredible work, stewarding the return of the father archetype to this planet through men's gatherings, circles, and trainings. Adam is a true Renaissance man. With his education in science, background in art and music, and ongoing exploration of love, travel, and experiential community building. Fatherhood has set Adam on a heart-opening journey of conscious parenting and commitment to living one's truth. Adam is devoted to continual inner exploration and has the intuitive ability to connect others to their path and purpose. His spiritual practices have led him to Inipi ceremony, sweat lodge, men's circles, plant medicine ceremonies, and transformational gatherings. He is walking his spiritual path with the power of self-love and the intention to raise the collective consciousness of our human family. In today's episode, we go deep into some powerful topics such as the blessing and medicine of listening and attuning to one's internal guidance system and how to step into our gifts from a place of trust and humility, what community is and why we as humanity are so in need of it right now, what it means to be leaders in conscious capitalism and creating a new paradigm economy, and of course, a lot about the sacred brotherhood and all the incredible work that Sacred Sons is doing in the world and why it is so needed at this time. I know you are going to love this conversation. Adam's heart and authenticity shines through his words and his sharing. So once again, thank you for tuning in, Four Visions Tribe family. Enjoy.
A quick word from our sponsors before we begin this episode.
This episode is brought to you by Magic Fund Amazon. Four Visions Market is proud to be in partnership with Magic Fund, a nonprofit organization that works as a movement for Amazonian growth and indigenous cultures. Magic Fund focuses primarily in the Putumayo region of the Colombian Amazon, spearheading various initiatives that focus on the preservation of indigenous culture, land, and the health of the traditional peoples that live there. Magic Fund recently launched a new campaign that is called Planting Magic. Through this initiative, we are currently fundraising to be able to steward 50 hectares of land in the Colombian Amazon in order to plant and reforest the land with native endangered medicinal plant species. We believe that these sacred plants, if conserved and protected, can bring forth healing for all of humanity in the generations to come. Like many places in the world, the Amazon is under constant threat of encroachment. 17% of the Amazon rainforest has been lost in the last 50 years. An increased interest in the healing benefits of these plants threatens their survival. As these ancestral plants continue to come out of the jungle to be shared with the West, the dire need to plant and replant these medicines becomes more and more apparent. So we invite you to join us in planting magic and leaving a legacy for the future generations so that these medicines continue to accompany humanity for many years to come. Visit Magic Fund Amazon to learn more and to join the movement. Welcome, my brother. I am so excited to get to have you onto our show and to get to share your beautiful wisdom and light and just truth and strength with our Four Visions community. So it's an incredible honor to have you. And thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, it's always an honor to be in your presence. And every time we get together, some beautiful transmissions come through. And just I'm so proud to be here representing Sacred Sons to this Four Visions audience. What we're bringing and bringing community and brotherhood through, it's so in alignment with some of the traditional and ancestral practices that you guys are continuing to keep alive through your gifts and through your offerings and through the educational awareness that you bring. So happy to be here.
Beautiful. Amazing. Well, let's get right into it. I would love for you to introduce yourself to our tribe. I'm sure many of our listeners know you, but for those who don't, who is Adam Jackson and what is your mission on this earth for this lifetime?
Yeah, my name is Adam Jackson. I'm a child of this earth. I'm a student of this earth. I'm a lover of this earth. And I'm a lover of this life. And my personal mission is to bring more life into this experience. And currently I'm doing that through fatherhood, through love, through passion, and through living my dharma or my purpose. And that is to bring brotherhood to the forefront of conscious communities as a means for healing. I believe that this is a time of healing. I believe that this is a time when all people need to heal. And so my mission, as I received in multiple ways in multiple chapters throughout my life, was to bring brotherhood through as a means for connection. And so, what's happening broadly in the world right now is men are in isolation and disconnected. And so I've had experiences throughout my life, both being in a band and being on sports teams and in all types of ways, and understanding that when men gather, like beautiful magic can happen. And so that's the mission.
It's so beautiful. And, you're such a wonderful example of someone who has aligned with their soul's purpose and is living it and walking it. And, the world needs more people doing that. And your light emanates and radiates because that it's so clear that you're doing what you came here to do. And that in itself is medicine for people, that in itself inspires. So thank you for all the good work that you're doing, my brother.
Thank you. I feel that. I like to say my whole life is one. And I am just me wherever I am in whatever situation I am in. And I think that's something to strive for is oneness of self, knowledge of self, understanding of self. Yes. But like there's a specific oneness that comes along with knowing oneself. And so I guess my message in that would say that it's possible. It's absolutely possible. And when the vision comes through so clearly and the calling comes through, it's a full yes. And that was my experience. It was really an invitation, and it was up to me to say yes.
So what was that process like, getting to know yourself, and share with us a little bit about how you got to be where you are today and what your journey has been like? I'm sure, we've all been through the depths of our shadows to be able to get to know ourselves, and I'd love to hear you speak a little bit about that.
Yeah. Where shall I begin? This is where I'll begin. I'll begin before the beginning. I didn't know either of my grandfathers. And I think that may be common for many in our generation, but specifically, my mother's father committed suicide when she was a teenager. And my father witnessed his father die when he was 5 years old. And so my parents, I imagine there's some karmic piece of them coming together in that loss of their fathers. So coming into this life, my parents were separated at the time that I was born. And so like myself, like having this distance from that father energy has been a theme that has come back and into this work and into this purpose of why I'm here.
Wow.
And I'll say it like this, because every time I'm going to tell a story about myself, it's always going to be unique from the perspective of what's coming through right now. Is when I started my deeper healing journey is when I became a father. And so when my son Noah was born, I got a text message from my dad, and who was living in Ohio. I was living in California. And he just said, "Hey, how long do you think it will take me to drive to California? Because I want to come and meet my grandson." And it was so significant, like for him to reach out for one, and then to make 3-day drive across the country and all this because for someone who doesn't travel. And to reconnect that piece that I was missing for my son to meet his grandfather, this was significant to me. And so in the work that we're doing, we talk about returning the father archetype to this planet. And so I'm kind of jumping, this is more of me, but it's more of the mission. There's so much emphasis that has been put on men, especially throughout the mythopoetic men's movement, to be the warrior, to be the king, to be the magician, to be the lover. And so what we're saying is like, let's return the father. Let's bring the presence of the father home. You don't have to be these heroes. You don't have to be these kings. Can we hold down our families and our communities with that fatherly essence that has been absent and that has been longed for? And I have that longing in my soul because that was my soul's incarnation. And so that's, everyone, in spiritual work knows that it's from our deepest wounding is where our greatest light comes from. And so that's why I wanted to share that part of the story. And, I feel complete with that.
Wow. Wow. Full body chills with that story because ultimately, you are bringing justice for your ancestors, bringing justice for your lineage. Reconciliation is the word that comes to mind, as I hear you sharing that, because so many of us are here to complete cycles and to, continue reconnecting the threads that, fell apart in the stories of our grandparents and our great grandparents, the ones that walked before us. And so it's really so beautiful to hear a little bit more about your story and how it's played a role in the work that you're doing. And you can really tell when someone is so aligned when it all fits together so perfectly, like a puzzle. And that's really what I'm getting as I listen to you share a little bit more.
Yeah. And for us, it's like, it's not about perfection. It's about chaos and order. And so from that chaos, from those swelling pools of trauma, of loss, of longing that I'm speaking to, comes order and comes reconnection and comes the fulfillment, like you're saying, the fulfillment of, healing is a great word, but there's also like this particular alignment that comes back into itself, right? To realign. And when I say like realign, it's not about realigning to some external ideology of what a man is supposed to be or what a human being is supposed to be, but it's to realign to the knowingness that's in our hearts of who we are. And so the work and the many ceremonies that I've been blessed to sit in, whether that's on the Red Road and Lakota Sweat Lodge and things like that, or in plant medicine ceremonies, those kind of experiences are the ones that really revealed to me greater aspects of who I am and what that realignment looks like for me. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like when I was saying, know that it's possible, it's also, we can only reach the highs, right, of the depths that we're willing to go within ourselves. And so oftentimes we see alignment and perceive success as like the highs, but it doesn't come without the depth. And so that's also a part of it. It's like, and that particular journey never ends.
It's a long road.
It's a long road.
And so epic. Yeah, once we really start committing to seeing the truth and being the truth, it just becomes ever unfolding deeper and deeper layers. And so I see that for you, your commitment to walking that path. And it's very, very beautiful, righteous work that you're doing. And, I would love to talk a little bit more about, specifically the role that the plants and your personal prayer has played in the development of your mission and your work that you're doing. We spoke about this in another time, and I would love to bring it into this conversation to hear you speak a little bit. Sacred Sons is such a prayer-based mission. You can look at the organization. Yes. You can look at the organization and right away see that it was founded in a deep prayer and communion with Source and with the force of life. And I would love to hear you talk a little bit about how that process came through for you and your brothers and how you've gone cultivating this vision and this initiative aligning with that prayer, continuing to listen and acting from that place of true attunement.
Beautiful question. Mm. Plants have played a major role in all of it. And I would say from the side rituals of Jason, Albert, and myself, when we would first come together to envision this, we would always start with a hape ceremony. Just as having that practice between us.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the ceremony of sitting with grandmother spirit of ayahuasca was really what not only gave me the vision, but gave me the permission. Because it was a both and. Like it's the vision is strong and the prayer is strong, but it was deep permission, because that question comes for all of us: who am I to do this?
Yeah.
Who am I to call this prayer in in the first place? And so it was really about asking permission. And she held me, and I would let me go back into that moment. Yeah, ceremony took me to a place and showed me literally bringing people together and bringing people to the land that I was on for ceremony. And for me, it was a lot of the resistance to that, and her showing me over and over again, like, you have everything you need, and me going, I don't know enough. And she's telling me there's not enough information in all the books in the world if you just embody what's true for you. You know, what she showed me in that moment is like, you are the map, you are the book, and we all are, right? And so it was a moment for me to stop seeking outside of myself and just to go in and fully trust. And Sacred Sons was co-founded by Jason McKenzie, Albert Bastia, Neil Christensen, and myself. And while in our gatherings, in our work, we say brotherhood is the medicine, you know, we actually have a strict no substances policy at our gatherings on our weekends, because we like to evoke the natural energies and sensations that arise within brotherhood and within this confronting work. However, she's present because she's in us. And she's in the majority of the leadership, in fact, within Sacred Sons, it's more than a common thread. It's a common understanding and knowing. I think that permeates throughout our community. And so the other piece that's very real for me is, like, once I got the message, I was like, get to work. She wasn't like, hey, come back and check in with me every weekend, you know, because that's not what it's about. And so if you get that calling, get to work. That would be my message from this place, because, and it's not that I have sat for with different intentions. And if we're going to respect these master teacher plants, if we're going to respect the teachings that actually come through, then I can't make it about me and my experience. It has to be about, like, get the message and, like, following that intuition and that knowingness. And that's what's really come through as a result of the plants.
Yes. I love it. You know, oftentimes people ask us when they come to work with the medicine, how do we differentiate between the messages that we receive on the medicine, between our ego and the truth of our heart? And this is a beautiful, beautiful sharing, because what I'm getting is that you were able to tune into your heart and let go of the doubt and the parts of us that keep us small and keep us, you know, doubting our capacity, and align with that greater prayer, that greater calling that was being asked to come forth through you and your brothers, not necessarily by you, but through you, and to be humble enough to say yes and to begin to place one foot in front of the other. And that is beautiful, beautiful thing. You know, if more people did that, our world would be a much better place. And that really, you know, speaks to the capacity that we all have as human beings. And I love when people come to work with us in the medicine and they utilize their insights from the medicine to really make big things happen in the world. And so we all have that ability, and when we start to really see the ripples that can take place when people start to step into that place of true alignment and service to the greater will, right, beyond ourselves, but then allow our physical bodies that are the vehicle, the vessel for that manifestation power. It's infinite, our capacity as humanity, and there's so much goodness that can come through from that.
Yeah, our capacity is infinite. Anything is possible. And we need you.
Mm.
We need your gifts. If you have any doubts, if you're someone who's listening to this, that means you're somewhat, on a path, on your path. And know that we need you, because what's also infinite is the number of ways that we get to show up, that we get to show up and steward this thing called life. Which, we have to just acknowledge that would not be possible without our Mother Earth, would not be possible without Father Sky. And it's like, for me also, it's not about going back. We're not trying to return to some vision of what we believe tribe and village is. We have to continue moving forward in this ancient future, in this digital village that we have found ourselves in. This is the time that we were born in too. I love to acknowledge that, and I see that in your work as well with Forward Visions, like to bring the ancient and the future together in this now moment, and how powerful that is for all of us. Yeah.
So beautiful. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about community, because I think that's one of the driving pillars behind what you do and why you do what you do. So my question is, first, I would love to hear a little bit more about what lessons you've learned in this process of creating community, and what your insights along the journey have been about what community is, what it's not, and why we need it.
Yeah. The reasons that we need it are vast, and the chaos is all around us in what we see when we don't have community and when we don't have village. And so, what have I learned? What I really have learned is that people are deeply desiring it in this time. And I find it so ironic that it's absolutely accessible and free to us, but we're in a time of capitalism to a point where we are commodifying community. And I just want to be very real about that. And also ceremonies are being commodified and all types of things because we live in this capitalistic society. But why? Why when it's right here for us, do we still have to play this game that it's not accessible to us, that we can't touch it? It's right beyond the veil, but we uphold the veil. And so what I learned is our very first gathering out in the high desert of Jacumba, California, at a beautiful land called Liberty Rising, which is the birthplace of Sacred Sons. It's the original ancestral homelands of the Kumeyaay people who have lived and who still live on that land for 10,000 years. And their creation story comes right through that land. And I've sat with those elders, and I've sat with the people who steward that land today. And so, like, that's what's possible with community, is to make the connections, not over just our lifetime, but over many lifetimes, back to a place, culture in its place. And so what I learned is that people are desiring that. We had our first gathering there at Liberty Rising. Can we get 30 guys to show up? Is what we were asking ourselves. Spirit told us, she showed us, we wrote it down. And through that ceremony as well, the name Sacred Sons came through. And in that first gathering, 71 brothers showed up.
Wow.
And we're like, oh, got it. This is needed. This is real. We're also in terms of the resistance, just so people can feel into whatever your gifts are that you have to share. The resistance is coming. Do men want this? Is it to this? Is it to that? Are they going to understand what we're doing here? Right? Will they follow our agreements? And the answer to all of the questions is yes. It's a full yes. And so here's some pieces on community. You need agreements. I need agreements. We need agreements. And specifically for Sacred Sons, our initial agreements coming into our weekends are confidentiality, honesty, acceptance, ownership, and the sacred. And so I can go deeper into that, but we need to have agreements so that community understands its intention. Why of we are gathering, right? And so let's see, what isn't community? Community doesn't have a stage. I mean, there's time for that, right? There's time for that in the plays, but community is non-hierarchical in its truest sense. There's a piece that I really found that happens when men gather in a good way, where we get to drop all of that bullshit, and we all get to have a role. We all get to play a part in a mycelial way, in a non-hierarchical way. And so I think that that's important because we've also been indoctrinated into this, like, well, we got to have the leader, and then the leader has these two guys, and so on and so forth. And when we not only gather, but when we are bonded in community, the role of every member is significant and must be acknowledged. And when it's not, that's when we get into places of misalignment. And so what I'm learning and what we're learning is that this is about intersovereignty. It's about freedom. It's about choice and having structure, having clear agreements, possibilities and consequences. All of these things deeply matter. And I know I'm going to get long-winded here, and I'm just really contemplating this question because I don't get asked it that often. So thank you. But what I also have witnessed is that communities fail because of men. Communities fail because of men with perceived power who are misaligned. And that can look all different types of ways, but normally it looks like relationships becoming entangled and just becoming destructive within community. And so what I have seen is that when men become aligned with themselves and each other in an intersovereign way, we can have communities that thrive, where women and children are safe and loved, and where the earth and the land is cared for and is giving back to us in full reciprocity.
Wow. That's some serious wisdom right there. Listen up, everyone. Adam is dropping truth. Thank you. Thank you so much, because it's so true. And you hit on, a element there that is so important regarding the sustainability of communities, because what's the point in building something beautiful just to watch it burn? And so the foundations of the values that you guys are upholding, so important, I think, especially because part of why we see community is to be held and seen and to be able to amplify our own sacred power and force and strength. And so when there's that container of safety and values that are being upheld, it does provide that ability to be able to do that level of work and to do it for forever sustainably. And that's really the beauty of doing what we're doing, right? So thank you so much for all those reflections. So much beautiful things that you just shared. And really speaks to why you're doing what you're doing too,
And it's not perfect at all. Right? Like I think it's important to acknowledge a lot of people have these indigenous fantasies. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm not here for that. I'm not here for utopia. I'm here to bring chaos into order and to acknowledge the cycles of life and death, and to be in that, in that, to once again be in that cycle. Right? And so I imagine you see all kinds of things in the tribal peoples that you work with and that you have, become in good relations with. And it's not perfect. What it's about is participation. Are we showing up to it? Are we showing up to the pieces that we have chosen and been called to hold? And in that we're getting the witnessing, and we're getting our cups full. And I see that with men. Man, so many men come and they've, we do very confronting work at Sacred Sons. I'll also give our core kind of tenets of the work we do is creation. We create the space. We create the invitations, connection, We deeply connect. We come into physical contact, eye contact, verbally sharing our stories with one another, confrontation, shadow work, deeply confronting the pieces of ourselves, again, that we no longer feel aligned to. And it's not about discarding in this case. It's about integrating those pieces into the fullness of who we are. Just to be clear about what the work is and the way that we do it. This isn't like shedding things and leaving them behind for them to come back and wrap their tentacles around us later. It's about, hey, let's acknowledge the truth of who we are as human beings and our desires and our needs and what we have to give, and integrate all of that into the fullness. Right? So that's that. And then celebration. So many men are out here with gifts and life triumphs, uncelebrated, unnoticed, unnoticed in their own homes by their loved ones. And so to give a brother a space to just share with us, like, hey, what are these triumphs that you speak of? It's such a healing experience, to be witnessed. And I believe in my own vision that in community, more of that gets to happen because of the ways that we know each other. And so I can't discard the power of Instagram. We get to celebrate the virtual tribe that's out there and the soul fam that are connected. And, you and I are connected in those ways as well. And so seeing each other, witnessing each other, and being able to celebrate each other is that even in that space is not insignificant. When we first started Sacred Sons, I could probably count on one hand how many men I followed, on Instagram. Now, and it was that way for a lot of men in the community. Now you have men publicly dropping heart emojis, saying I love you to other men across the digital interwebs because of the connection and because of the real spaces that we've shared. And I don't want to make it all, again, like it's for another time, because it's happening right now and it's happening in all the ways. And so just like I'm saying, we have to integrate all aspects of ourselves. We have to we also have to integrate all aspects of the outer reality that we are partaking in, that we are participating in, and bring the love to those spaces as well. You want to ban TikTok, just bring some loving awareness to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I guess another way to say that for me is like, and for the mission is, we're not here to tear down. We're not here to tear down the old. We are here to build the new and to be actively a part of building the new. And that takes a lot of us. And so we're on our way. The lions are coming.
I want to be a sacred son.
You are a sacred son.
Just have to set up for being a fan and supporter, believer. No, and getting to feel all the beautiful ripples too, right? Because like what you're talking about is life-changing for families, for communities, the work that's done within the confines of that sacred brotherhood space. We get to feel all of that ripple out into society. And we need more of those spaces today, whether it's women's work and women's circles or men's work. We do need those places because there's been so much trauma and impact and pain and wounding and so much disillusion that we do need those spaces, to be able to come back into the sacred and the sacred archetypes, and to be able to return back to, the fullest extent of who we are, as men and women, and then to be able to bring that together back into the altar of our homes. That's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. It's just so, so special. So yeah, and then also, I also just want to speak to the fact that you guys are you're not leaving any leaf unturned, and that's part of what I have always felt drawn to with plant medicine is it's like it strips you bare, and it really gets to the core of everything. You can't really hide from the truth when you're communing with the sacred medicines. But you can hide from the truth when you're just showing up in community and in society. So the fact that you guys are doing the work that you're doing on such a deep level, it's so inspiring, Adam. And really, for all of my brothers listening, to get the opportunity to connect with this organization is a real blessing and an honor. And I highly encourage you guys to check them out, because this is the real deal. This is serious work and really powerful stuff that's going on on. And we need more work on that level happening, in all different facets. And so it's exciting to get to talk about this. I can feel your passion, but you're making me passionate about it too, because it's so good. It's so good.
Can I jump in here with some acknowledgments of the deep work in plant ceremonies? Sometimes can be further isolating for people because it's very difficult to explain or even to express to someone, like, oh my gosh, I had a vision and then I was a dolphin, and then like
yeah.
And it's really about how you felt. And what's so powerful about a group of men or women or community coming together to witness that person is we all get to go with you. We're all on that healing vision process ceremony with you. And so I have heard the stories of thousands of men. I've been present to witness the tears of thousands of men, and it's not like I'm holding it all. I'm here as a witness to my brothers. You know what I'm saying? For them to give their tears back to the earth in a way that's good and that's replenishing. And so, I also want to acknowledge that we learn so much from the women. And I've been auxiliary to many communities and even women's circles, and seeing the way that they gather was very inspiring for this work of Sacred Sons, which is not purely about masculinity. We carry masculine and feminine energies. And so you'll see both of those playing out in our gatherings, in our photos and the things that we share. But I just think it's important to say, like, it's like we really are not leaving any stones unturned. You know what I mean? And that powerful circle, I just see it happening in so many ways around the world, in different forms. And yeah, trust in the power of the circle and of the collective witness. And let's have more collaborative integration, so that we're not further isolating ourselves into our egos and into our separation.
Yes.
And I can see that happening in different aspects of spiritual communities. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to do that. We can be together in this. We can be honest.
Yes, it's such a beautiful reminder. And it's very true. We have these life shattering or, we get to see everything and have these beautiful spiritual experiences in the ceremonies or the medicine retreats that we go to. And then we go home and we feel so alone and no one can understand what we just went through.
And no one's holding you accountable. If you made a promise to God in that moment, who's holding you accountable? In my spaces, there's a circle of 20 men who have your number, and we make it known. And we say, this brother's going to check in with you every week to make sure that you did that thing that you said while we were in prayer, because we believe it. So accountability for men is a necessity.
Yep. Accountability for everyone is a necessity.
For everyone. And, I'm just present to how it works with men. Because if a man is only accountable to himself, he cannot be trusted. We cannot be trusted. And it's the truth, because it plays out in our lives and our actions, thoughts, words, actions, behaviors. It plays out. And so to have other men it's not like it's their responsibility either. It's the individual's responsibility to check in, to be accounted for. Right. But it is powerful. Like when we have that big breakthrough moment and we make that prayer to God, and other people say, yeah, brother, like I see you in that and I'm going to hold you in that. Like, we got to come back to the radical healing power of our bodies, of our human energy that we share in.
Yeah, we talk a lot about how to carry yourself through integration after you have these plant medicine experiences, and we focus a lot on the different allies that we have in our lives, and we talk a lot about the toolbox that we carry. So the toolbox can be a lot of different things. It can be daily prayer and spiritual practice. It can be spiritual payments and offerings that we make on a regular basis to help us complete our process and carry ourselves through whatever we're working on. It can be plants and other tools that we utilize on a regular basis, anything from breath work and yoga to regular hape prayer, regular hape practice. And then this element of community is that sustaining pillar, and so I love where this conversation has gone because it's a wonderful reminder to everyone who's tuning into this conversation and just to us, as we walk this path, is to not fool ourselves into thinking that we're alone, and to not let ourselves believe that lie that we have to carry it on our own. And so to go out and find those people, find those ones that are going to walk beside you and support you, and walk this prayer together, because what's the point of doing it if we can't do it together and share in like that celebration that you talked about, that victory, right? Of being human and walking upon this earth. And so yeah, I just think that this is a beautiful reminder and call to all of us to hold that and really be aware of that in the daily practice, and go out and make it happen for yourself.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. Remember, like, your community, your tribe, it's just there beyond the veil.
Mm. Mhm.
There's never been an easier time to connect. You know, it may feel in the opposite direction. And if it feels like that, come into a space of creation over consumption. You know what I'm saying? And what that can look like if you're mindlessly scrolling deeper into depression,
Mhm.
stop it and find a way to connect. We're using the technology as a tool, as a means to come together in real life. And
Mhm.
and we're finding our tribe now in Australia, in Scotland, in the Netherlands. We're right now there are men gathering under the banner of Sacred Sons in Tepoztlan, Mexico, all in Spanish,
Ooh.
singing the same songs that we sing in Spanish.
Wow.
This is how we pray, doing the same movements, the
Oh.
same motion, the same sequence that we take men through.
Mhm.
And that's a big vision to hold. I don't hold it alone. There's so many brothers who make all of this possible. I've been blessed to be known as the voice of Sacred Sons.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I'm so happy to be able to share this message with your community and
Mhm.
and to get you hyped up. We will when it's called upon, we will have like a true family, a sacred family ceremony gathering.
Mhm.
And the message that I got was clear. Like, wait till the men are ready.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay, cool. So you're preparing your brothers to be
I,
able to
I have to
welcome
hold the
in
line.
the women.
I have a lot of women hitting us up like, oh, I would love to be
Yeah.
it. I want to wrestle.
Uh-huh. Totally, totally. I love it. I love it. Wow. Okay, cool. So yeah, sign me up for that. And I want to pivot the conversation a little bit, because so this podcast, we focus on plant medicine, on the spiritual path, and then another sacred pillar that we are working to cultivate within these conversations is regarding sustainable sacred commerce. And so we truly believe that organizations that are mission based, that are acting from this place of the heart, this place of service to humanity, this is the future. And that is truly the driving force behind what we're doing. Beyond the actual offering that is Four Visions, we see ourselves as modeling a way of communing with economic exchange that is leaving footprints for a legacy, for a new way that is emerging and evolving. And I see that, of course, in Sacred Sons as well. And there's a lot of, parallels. You even mentioned it a few minutes ago, briefly here, about this concept of commercializing the brotherhood. And so I want to get a little bit more into it here, because we also we're commercializing something sacred as well. And, for us, we see a cup of basil tea that you pray over and harvest from your garden to be equally as potent, as powerful as any master plant that you go to work with in ceremony, because all plants hold that vibration, that frequency of the earth and of nature. So, but we're choosing to sell it, right? We're choosing to make it a product and commercialize it, and just like you are doing the same to something that, in your own words, is already there. It's already available to us, right? And so, in doing that, it opens up the complexities of what it means to do something like this in true integrity. it opens up the question of how do we do it in the right way? What is the right way? As well as, I'm sure you guys have bear witness to the criticisms and the external, voices of doubt and questioning. Yeah,
Yes,
and questioning. Mhm.
absolutely. Come here, Hall. Come here real quick. Did you go to the beach? Yeah, this is Holland.
Hi, sweet boy. I'm Mariah. It's nice to meet you. Hi, cutie pie.
Going to the beach. Yeah. So here's the thing. This is a great conversation because I am not conflicted at all around this topic. I feel like full trust in what I'm about to say. First, Sacred Sons, as it stands now, supports 7 of our families. Right? I mean, this is something that we worked very hard to be in a position to have that. And so we're deeply grateful for this place that we've been able to get in of support. The second piece I want to bring through is that we have a robust scholarship program. One of our intentions from the very beginning was that this work was going to be for all men, that we were going to be diverse, not only culturally, spiritually, but financially, economically. And so our community is very diverse because at every Sacred Sons training gathering, we always scholarship 1 out of every 5 men. So 5 men show up. 1 of those men is scholarshiped. This was important for me because I grew up in a way that I would have never been able to have access to something like this. You know what I'm saying? And in our youth program, we scholarship 1-to-1. We do a 1-to-1 model. So for every family that can afford to send their kid to a mentorship or to an event, we scholarship fully. And sometimes that even includes travel. Like we have paid for, young men to be at these deeply transformational gatherings. And the youth work is so powerful. And really, it's really what it's about, because in the men's space, we're doing a lot of undoing. But in the youth space, it's like we're catching them before a lot of the wounding and getting the standards of presence deeply instilled at an early age. So I believe that this is the way. I also believe that this work will be fully scholarship for all. I believe that we will find a way and are working towards a way to siphon off of corporations, off of government donations, off of grants. And we are working through our foundation, which is also a nonprofit, to do that, because this work is for all men. And that's the truth. Now, there's another part of this conversation that looks like, what do we value? Because while neither you or I invented capitalism, we still have a choice of where we spend our money. What do we value? And what we are doing, Sacred Sons and Four Visions, is flipping the model. And we're saying we value highly, at the most high, we value healing. We value connection. We value community. We value these sacred master plants in such a way that we're willing to express our value through our self-worth into these products or experiences. And so what Sacred Sons is selling is an experience. I show up just as myself. It's my energy. And I value my own personal energy and time in such a way that I feel no conflict to receive exchange for that. You know what I'm saying? And so there's parts of this that it's like, again, it's not about tearing down the old. It's about utilizing the system and building towards the new. And I feel like as long as our intention is to not settle, both for Sacred Sons and Four Visions, to not settle, but to continue making strides towards sustainable but regenerative systems, that's like, I believe that we will get there. And for that to happen, the commodification of these things is happening now, so that we can show that they're valuable. Is this making sense? We have to utilize the system first, show that people value it. Boom. Now we're over the tipping point. Now we're getting grants to bring veterans in and ex-law enforcement, the people who really need this deep healing work. And we're getting them. These men are showing up. I would like to just say as well, with these scholarships, these are helping brothers of color, like I said, veterans, ex-law enforcement, men who otherwise would not have access to this depth and level of community, you know? And so on the one pillar, I'm so proud to say that Sacred Sons is supporting myself and my family. I'm proud of that. Like, and I can hold that in my heart. And I don't want to be resourced fully from the brotherhood. That's the truth of what we're creating. And we know that. And so we're making the steps. And the only way we'll be able to get there is if others choose to value it as well. And I see that happening broadly. I see less and less people seeking the big Burning Man 70,000 person experience and deeply valuing small, intimate containers.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is the way forward. This is the new paradigm. It's I don't want to name any like particular festival, right? But it's not about like getting together with 100,000 people and creating an immense amount of waste, because that's what happens. It's about getting together in smaller groups when we can actually come together and connect. And we find out when we do that, we don't need the big PA and sound system. We don't need all the drugs. We don't need all the hype. We don't even need the lights. We got the stars and we got the fire and we got the earth and we got the water and we got each other. And that is enough. And that is valuable.
It's a beautiful answer. Good one.
There's a lot in there, but do you feel what I'm saying?
100%. 100%.
We have to show the culture that we value this. And I'm holding my hands like this. Like we're holding this thing and like we value this. And so the system will adapt to us, and so that we can have this polarity shift.
Yes. Yeah.
Shifting out of all the billions of dollars that are going into pharmaceuticals into community. Yes. Into sacred space.
Yeah, there's two things that come to mind with that response, and it was really eloquently said. So I think the first thing that I'm hearing is we vote with our dollar, right? So we need to be part of the solution by, if we're wanting to move towards that paradigm, we all need to play a role in bringing it forth. And then, the second part, which we really, believe, is that healing is a process. We spent many years getting sick. We spent a lot of money investing in our dis-ease and imbalance and making the wrong choices that were not good for our bodies, our souls, or our spirits. And so to think that we don't have to invest, whether it's money or time or energy, in reversing that and healing that, it's like that's not how life works, right? There's balance to everything, and that's what this element of reciprocity or irony comes from. That for every reaction there is an equal and opposite reaction, and that the energies have to be in balance for there to be that natural flow and exchange, receiving and giving. And so we receive so much more when we say yes to valuing it too. So I think that there's a lot of good medicine there. And I think also it comes down to really just holding that prayer and firming ourselves in that truth, and I know for me it's been a real spiritual practice, because when that questioning and that criticism comes hard at you, you take it really personally, or you can take it personally. And then, if we start to doubt what we're doing, that's not good for anyone, right? So if we're really going to step into this work, if we're really going to choose to devote our lives to this, we have to give our 100% and place our complete prayer there and sustain that truth, sustain that pillar that we are giving our all to, and from that place of continued devotion, of continued fortification of the truth and of the faith too, we continue to gain that momentum for others to uphold it with us and to understand that it's coming from the heart, it's coming from this place of goodness and beauty, and so it's a real journey. And I thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your process with it.
Yeah. Could I ask you a question? Because the people that Four Visions supports and impacts energetically in all the ways. And, if you get the criticism, it's like, man, if you only knew the fullness of how regenerative this is and how many tribes are depending on this and that is supporting. And I feel that way too when I see the work. And for me, I don't take any of the if there is criticism towards Sacred Sons in that way, I'm just like, apply for a scholarship and I will give it to you. We will gift this to you with open arms. That's how we really are. And I gave those numbers, but we've scholarshiped in way more than 1 in 5. That's the actual truth. And we've been doing it from the beginning. It was a part of the inception of like the why. Again, because what I was seeing was a lot of spaces of affluent white folks.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we're really going to do this, we have to make this accessible. And in order to do that, the people that can support it get to contribute for those that can't. There's no more math really than that for us. Our actual model is very simple. Yeah. And so that in its own way is just like, yeah, as we do that dance, we continue to strive to do it as best we can while still acknowledging the value.
Yeah, that's the work. And it's pretty it's good work, you know. It's really rewarding. And yeah, I'm enjoying the ride. I think you are too. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
And I've been on the other side, you know. I know what it is to I have a 15-year career as well as a mechanical engineer to work for a water quality company. We designed water quality sensors that tested different parameters of pollution in water. Something I was also passionate about at that time in my life. And the reality of that work, cubicle life, collecting a paycheck, there's something on this side that is way more expansive and fulfilling in the knowingness that possibilities are just much more expansive.
Yep.
From when we're in a place of creation. And so again, the model that we're creating is we want to build more abundance for as many as possible. You know, that's happening. That's really happening. And if I almost want to say here, like, don't take my word for it. Like, go talk to a Sacred Son. You know what I'm saying? Find someone in your life who's connected with us. And, you know, that's the best. And I imagine you guys have that as well. It's like so many of the community are just out here word of mouth, doing it in the mycelial ways and in the good ways of like, that's how it's really spreading.
Yeah, you know, just to bring it full circle back to what you were sharing at the beginning, it's like the world is needing, the earth is needing for each one of us to step into our fullest capacity and to step into our gifts and to our medicine. And so by us doing this work, we're modeling it, we're demonstrating what that looks like and just letting go of those limiting beliefs of having to suffer or having to, not be in grace with the divine abundance of creation. And so that is a beautiful prayer to be walking, you know, and of course, the more that you walk towards the light, the more that the shadow, you know, rears its head. That's the natural part of evolution. And so it's really just a beautiful opportunity to affirm that prayer, you know, and to continue walking forward in the truth and trusting that this is where we're going. This is what humanity is needing, and this is where we're going towards.
Yes. Thank you for that reminder. Yeah. Yeah. I'm here on Maui, Hawaii, and Maui played a significant role in the story of Sacred Sons as well. And we have some deeply rooted people here. And Maui's always a reminder of the abundance that is here for us and of the radical indigenous hospitality of the earth and how she is continually providing for us. And what I was saying about stepping out of the square world and into this circle of life is that I am now in with the abundance that she is so willing to give us. And I feel that it's not in the bank account either. It's not about that. It's in the fullness of the experience of life. You feel what I'm saying? And so, yeah, Mama Maui's always just such a beautiful reminder of how abundant this life truly is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so rich. And I think just Mama Earth in general, wherever we are in the world, we can go to her and we can connect to the infinite abundance that she has to offer, the way that she always shows up for us, the way that she always holds us and carries us through, and that is the reflection of our innate essence within, and so the more that we walk from that place and align with that divine truth, everything becomes more beautiful, everything becomes more colorful. That is our birthright.
I'm looking in the mirror. Like when you speak, you really activate me because like it's just we got the same message. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We have a connection from the other side, from the most high, from the highest source possible, and I feel it resonating through you and through your work and through your words. It's beautiful to witness.
Thank you, my brother. Yeah, right back at you. I love talking to you. I love these conversations. Such a blessing.
Hey, can I ask you? Can you tell me about your festival that you have coming up?
Yeah, yeah. So we have our first ever medicine music festival taking place in Colombia, and it's going to be 4 days of community, of music, of celebration. A lot of what we were talking about today, with that culmination of where the work goes with Sacred Sons, because we're not going to be doing plant medicine during those first 4 days of communion. So it's really about building relationships and taking that space to connect with people and build community, build tribe, and receive the healing that music has to offer us. I think a lot of people, big parts of their healing journey through plant medicine is through the music. And so we're really excited to be bringing together some really beautiful musicians in the medicine music world to come and cultivate this prayer. And so yeah, we're really excited. Hmm.
That is going to be amazing because so much of the pool to ceremony is like it's always the greatest concert of all time.
Right.
And so it really is a sound ceremony,
Hmm.
with Aya, and so that you're bringing it into this reality in the form of community and the spirit is awesome. I want to be a part of it. Let me know if you guys need someone to hold men's spaces or containers or any pieces like that. We are, I just mentioned we were at Envision Festival, and
Uh-huh.
I believe to have Sacred Sons presence at these type of gatherings and festivals is really important because it gives men a space to come into, like I said, get in alignment with themselves and each other, and then it permeates throughout the spaces that we're in. And I saw it in Envision. Our time slot was 9:30 a.m. every day. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, oh, maybe a handful of people show up. The first day, 150 men showed up. The
Oh,
second day,
wow.
200 men showed up. And we're like, this is a reflection of the need for this work and of connection for our brothers. So
Mhm.
would love to bring that essence into your space as it develops and opens, and blessings on your first festival. Looks incredible.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my brother. Yeah, of course. We will continue that conversation. And I know we have some really beautiful things coming up for our collaboration of our brother and sister organizations as we continue walking this beautiful path together. So thank you for that. And just want to thank you so much for your time and for showing up for this conversation. I really have a lot of respect for you, Adam, and your path and in what you're stewarding. And it feels so good to get to share you with my tribe and my community and the Four Visions family. And this conversation has had a lot of really beautiful seeds of wisdom, reminders, connection, and really seeds of love. And so I'm just so grateful for you and for all that you are.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Received. I fully
Mm,
received that.
good. You should. That's why I said it, right? So
Ah,
so so with that, I would like to end with one final question for you. And I think it's kind of like a summary of everything that we really just spoke about, but it's also an offering, an opportunity for you to close this beautiful conversation with a message for all of those tuning in. And so my question for you is, what is the legacy that you want to leave for your children and for the ones to come?
yeah. It's so simple for me because the legacy is just to be here. It's to be present. It's to become the grandfather that I spoke about in the beginning. Like that's the legacy. And there's so much beauty in the awareness of how sacred our moments of being together really are. And, this is as far as I got in the vision. I was showing myself old that, hey, I don't have to worry. I'm going to be there. Mm-hmm. And so use the time that I have ahead of me. And that was as far as I got. And what I mean by that is I know as long as I see that gray-haired Rasta on this porch, you know what I'm saying, surrounded by my children, that is the mission. Like that's as far as I got. That's as much as I can actually give. It's just to be here. And so that takes a lot of work, especially in these times, just to be here, because a lot of people don't want to be here, And so I'm aware that of the specialness, the sacredness of the divine blip that this life truly is. And so I'm just so grateful again to be here. And my legacy will be that Adam Jackson was here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there you have it, folks. Adam Jackson in his fullest brilliance.
Oh, I can't wait to give you a big hug, yo.
I know, right? Oh, I love you, my brother. I love you.
From everyone at the Four Visions Market family, we would like to thank you for listening to our podcast. We really hope that you've enjoyed the conversation and gained many new insights on plant medicines, ancestral wisdom, and much more. Please remember to visit our website at www.fourvisionsmarket.com for more resources and information on plant medicine and spiritual tools. And please don't forget to follow us across social media for regular updates on upcoming episodes. We are grateful for your support and look forward to continuing this path with you all. Until next time, take care, stay present, and stay connected.